Hey guys, and welcome back to Let's Talk E3 weekend. I'm more excited, but it's been the entire day and I've stayed up for all the conferences, so my brain's a bit gone. Also, focusing and shit, it like weirdly takes it out of you. I don't know how to explain it. So, this Let's Talk is going to be very different from the other ones we've done and probably pretty long. That's just because we have so much to cover and talk about. One person might watch this, but I'm really excited about video games that are coming out this year and all the ones that we've seen in E3. And I wanted to make an E3 recap, kind of just going over some of the games, not all of them, so I guess not the best recap. But still, I'm amped, I'm excited, and I wanted to do this. But right now, currently in this clip, this video segment, we're gonna be talking about Microsoft's press conference, as well as Bethesda's. We're not gonna be talking about EA's too much because I'm not really into Battlefront and that kind of thing, although it's neat, good for that. But we're gonna be mainly talking about Microsoft's, and then there'll be another clip where probably I look a bit different, and that's going to be Sony's. But in this one, we're going to be talking about Microsoft and I guess Bethesda, but Bethesda didn't really have much. Bethesda is the one I just watched. To be honest, a bit underwhelming. The thing that was funny is that last year, I thought Bethesda had a pretty good lineup. Was it last year? I think it was last year. It was the E3 that they talked about Dishonored 2, and I think it might have been the one that they talked about Fallout. Anyways, not the point. The point is that in that year, I watched a couple videos of like recapping E3, like the people's initial responses, and the ones I seen were a bit annoying. It's because almost it's like only people want Elder Scrolls or whatever when they don't really like showcase games that, like, you know, are new games. Basically, if I'm being really honest, I was watching a Rooster Teeth fucking their coverage of it, and I watched like the live stream that they did because I wanted to see the thoughts and opinions, but almost all of them were kind of drunk and they were all like, this is bullshit, get Dishonored 2, a brand new IP, and that's what E3 is, showcase new IPs and etc. Get this off the screen, it's boring. And they just kept saying that, and I got really annoyed because I was just like, this is a new IP, this is what it should exist in E3. I love Rooster Teeth the Tears. It was the one nitpick I had when they were like, that's just unprofessional too. It's E3. You just have to sit there and watch. It's not like no one's forcing you to do that. For you to scream boring is a bit stupid to me. I don't know. That was last year. I haven't watched their current one right now. But this year I felt not bored, but very much like they didn't need a press conference. I think a lot of people are saying this. I think a lot of people are saying the exact same thing, is just that it's a bit much. But they, the main ones that they've announced is like a bunch of DLC expansions, one for Dishonored 2, which is awesome. We maybe talk about that in a little bit, I don't know. But the other thing they announced was Wolfenstein: The New Order, or not The New Order, but the next game. I've never really gotten the Wolfenstein games. I tried to, it just wasn't my cup of tea. I know a lot of people love them, and it's awesome. Well, it just didn't scratch the nerve for me. But anyways, that's Bethesda, pretty much what they announced. Also, they announced The Evil Within, number 2, which looks scary and horrifying, so I'm not into it. But moving on, basically. Let's talk about Microsoft and the games that they announced. First of all, I'm just going to be going from memory, not in terms of like where I'm hyped, but then again, maybe, because the ones that come to mind first, probably the ones I'm most excited about. Alright, so the first thing that comes to mind for the first game is Ori and the Blind Forest 2, except it's called The Whisper of the Wind or something like that. Basically, I am amped. As soon as I heard the soundtrack, that soundtrack just has a way of pulling you back into that universe like crazy. So bravo to that game. I love it to tears. Think it's very well done, very beautiful. It was one of the only games that made me feel like I was playing a dream. Like, it was just beautiful the way it was weaved together. Oh, if you haven't played it, definitely give Ori and the Blind Forest a go. Moving on. Now I say fuck my memory, and we're just gonna be going off the list that I wrote down of games I was interested in and wanted to talk about. We may have left some behind, sorry. The first one that I thought was amazing, and I want to make another Let's Talk talking about this, and it wasn't really showed at E3 so much as this is a game that I didn't have any idea about. This is like exclusively away from E3, but they released a trailer of this game called Fortnite. Holy shit. It's essentially Sunset Overdrive mixed with, Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare, because it's that like type of gameplay, but also Minecraft. So like you can build your own bases, and there's a bunch of new characters. There's like a ninja, a builder, and a bunch of these other ones who have like these side buffs. You can craft your guns and make them like shoot lasers and shit. It looks beautifully stylized as well. and you can get access to it early. It's going to be free to play, which is awesome. But you can get the Founders Pack and play it a little bit ahead of time. I think I want to do that. So that's just a real quick thing. I want to be making those videos for you guys. So whenever you guys see those videos, hopefully it'll be soon. I think it's next month it comes out. Which again, having seen the gameplay, I'm like, where did this come from? I never heard anything about this, and I'm so in because I love Sunset Overdrive, and all the things I've seen look amazing. Anyways, going back to E3. It got a trailer at E3, so it's still kind of like E3, just didn't get shown on the floor. Moving on, Sea of Thieves. Holy shit, do I love the trailer of that. That was expertly done. You had like an Irish pirate man talking to you, and it was just one of the most beautiful trailers I've ever seen cut together. Like the way they did it was just expertly done. Having just seen Bethesda's conference and having seen like Wolfenstein and the Evil Within, it's kind of just chopped up together of like all the scary / intense moments. But Sea of Thieves, again, there's just a method to the madness of like flowing things together, which I thought was brilliantly done. Anyways, moving on. The next thing, AC Assassin's Creed Origin. I'm a bit worried, but then again, I'm not, because I've always, I don't know, I just kind of associate Ubisoft with PlayStation. That's probably just because I played all of them on PlayStation and they have no connection at all. But anyways, I was surprised to see Assassin's Creed Origin showcased on Microsoft's. But, this is kind of not the best, but I was kind of really disappointed, honestly. Like, as much as I like when he is riding through the town, I'm like, awesome. The level design looks sexy, and it looks super good with the lighting. Awesome, just awesome. But then the combat comes up, and it's like, hey, you can slow down time while shooting someone in the head with an arrow, and I'm like, okay. And then there's like two people in front of him. He stabs one in the back and throws a knife at the one dude, which looks really janky, like really janky to me. It almost reminds me of Unity, like again, it doesn't flow together. It seems really like out of the way, etc. To me, like the best flowing game is Assassin's Creed 3, is it? The one with Big Native Boy. What the hell is his name? Fuck, voice in my head.
That'd be Connor. Google, it's a
cool. that to me is like the best free-flowing game, where animations didn't just feel like they were set pieces, they actually flowed together. Anyways, but those were all things that I was like, okay, whatever. They're kind of doing the Destiny stuff where it's like, hey, guess what? Rarity of weapons. Grind this until you get this certain weapon, which makes sense because Destiny is really successful and a lot of games are implementing that. Makes sense. Same thing with The Division, with Ubisoft, and yeah. But I'm fine with all that. But the thing that just destroyed me is I heard about it and I was really worried about it. But I heard that they were trying to change up the combat. And to me, the Assassin's Creed combat has always been one of, if not the absolute best part of the game itself. It's like free flowing, it like feeds into itself. You could do this insane stuff if you're able to manage everything properly. Like parry, dodge, that kind of thing. And in Assassin's Creed 2, you were able to like do insane shit, like stab someone, point a gun at another, and then shoot them, and like it all flowed together. Everything about the gameplay, the actual combat, looked like it did the opposite of flow together. It looked like a type of like Dark Souls, but less polished. Like that kind of visceral like punch, and you could whiff. But like in Assassin's Creed, that usually doesn't happen. But yeah, the dude starts like dodging, and I was watching a stream of people reacting to it, and I was like, why is no one like being critical? Because am I the only one that's like, this is some shitty animations, as well as just not the Assassin's Creed par, like the level. And how you like fight things, it seems to be very, again, it's almost like Assassin's Creed meets Dark Souls, but the shittier animations, which Dark Souls isn't known for having the prettiest animations to begin with. You basically roll and then side strafe, and it seems really just strange, and it's almost like Assassin's Creed trying to become these different things, but it's like the thing that you were is what people loved about you. And not that I don't like change, you guys know I promote that as much as possible, but it seems like the animations, again, didn't even flow together. You took away a part of the game that made the game pretty huge, like it's in every single AC game. Yeah, so the combat to me is why I got so disappointed by. I'm like, this looks horrible. Like, terribly awful. I'm not like, I hope maybe I'm running gameplay in the background, albeit that's pretty hard to fish out and grab, but it just seems janky and like not ideal. But we can't spend too much time talking about AC, we gotta move along. But yeah, kind of disappointed. I'm hoping to see more gameplay, and hopefully it was just like or an old test build, or maybe there's like a reason for it to be that way. But it just seems like it takes away what a lot of people love about Assassin's Creed, and it doesn't fix the problems that people have with Assassin's Creed. Anyways, moving on. State of Decay. Another one that I was a bit... I love State of Decay, and it's definitely a game I'm interested in covering on my channel just because it looks like it's such a cool, interesting type of game. Also to watch, I think. It's like it's a good game to watch. But I will say that I think they went for the wrong thing on the E3 press conference showcase. They went and they tried to make it seem like this moral battle between survivals and in reality, which in State of Decay, sure, those things exist, but to me it was never the thing I remember from the game. It was like, oh yeah, this dude died. Well, it's a game, so I'm going to move on and get another character. Like, to me, it wasn't the thing I remember from State of Decay. The things I remember of State of Decay were the things I hope they would have shown, like loot that respawned after a time period, like a skill tree of a character that I could get. These are all advances to what was already really good in the game. A bunch of different character presets that I could look a certain way, maybe some clothing options, something like that. Like, those would be the things that I think are amazing, as well as bases, like showing what would happen when you have this shitty base and then an endgame base that is like insanely fortified and like 100 hours dumped into it. That's the shit I wish they would have showed, but instead they're like, this guy got ripped in half. And you have to make these hard choices, and it's like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to have to decide on who lives and who dies. It's just like, I get like that's a part of it, but to me I don't think a lot of what State of Decay is. State of Decay is deep into the dynamics of the game itself, not its like moral fidelity. I don't think that's ever been what people remember from it. Maybe it is for you, but not for me. But anyways, just thought they focused on the wrong things, but I'm massively excited for the game. Metro, is that right? Did I say it right? Metro 2033, except it's called Exodus. Metro Exodus. We don't have a lot of information about it, but it looked good. I like the Metro games. I haven't beat Last Light, but I'm hoping that when he opened up his map, that is essentially being like, hey, it's open world, because that to me is where the evolution of the game happens. Is like, if we could have a Metro game that's no longer on rails and instead an open world game where there's tons of loot and rebreathers and all these other things for you to get, then that makes sense. But for it to kind of be like massively leveled based like it has been, I'm hoping we'll get open world equivalent, which when you open up his map, I kind of got that vibe. Moving on. Shadow of Mordor. Holy shit. Shadow of Mordor is up there for one of the games I'm the most excited for at this point. It does not beat Fortnite or State of Decay, but still. Shadow of Mordor, I've got a little bit into the first one, never beat it. I just didn't have enough time, that was the only reason. But now, that's also one of the things I didn't really like about the first one, is it wasn't really like funny or whatever, but in this one it seems like the character that they introduced was very like jokey, didn't take the whole event seriously. I imagine you have characters that do. Also, building your army is something that I like a lot, and that's something that the other one didn't have. Like, you could infiltrate and tear down existing castles, if you want to call them that. They're made up of different orcs. But in Shadow of Mordor, this one, it's all about building up your own fortress and like going to war, which is awesome. And that to me is really cool, because I really like those types of gameplay mechanics of like you progressively getting stronger and building up your empire. I really love those, especially when it's not like a civilization type situation. Anyways, the next one, we talked about Ori and the Blind Forest. The next one, okay, voice in my head, figure out the name of the very last game that was talked about on the Microsoft E3 panel. The name is... That'd be Anthem. Ooh. Awesome. This game made me laugh so hard, but also I'm super into it. Everybody's into it. You can't watch that, like, that was one of the best E3 demos ever, almost on a No Man's Sky level. And that's the problem. Yeah, it's not that I don't want it to exist, guys. I want it to exist so bad. But just please, level your expectations, because it's something we shouldn't do. But I can't help it, because there's a part of me that's like, I'm amped, but then also I don't typically get disappointed by things, because I know that they're gonna have to be something, and yeah. But anyways, I found this, the reason why I said I found it so funny, is because right now, how I watch E3 is I watch the press conferences by myself, just like the normal, uncut, raw ones that they've basically showing us on the like Microsoft, Bethesda's, and etc. Their like own streaming service. And then I watched another one that is people reacting to that conference. And the one I'm watching this year is the Funhouse, them reacting to it and taking shots and destroying their bodies in the name of comedy. It's pretty great. But the entire room came alive when that last game was shown, the one that is called The Thing. Sorry. When that was being showed, everyone got like silent because it was just like, whoa, like halfway through it. And these people are like drinking heavily, so that's a good commendable thing. But there was one person, if you watch Funhouse, you know, Lawrence was fucking a mess, but at the same time, loving it. And that's why he was mad, is because he knew it was bullshit. Like, this can't happen. This is all, like, it's eventually gonna have a gameplay loop. They're setting a poor precedent because the game's gonna eventually get diluted into something that's like boring and like just the grindy thing that every game is. But to me, the thing I found surprising was the stuff that he's usually like really insightful when it comes to games, because he's very critical of everything, which, to be fair, is kind of fair because games are liars half the time. But anyways, I was laughing because he was super pissed about like them showing it, because it's so cool, but yet probably unattainable. But he never said anything about like technical limitations on it, like almost like what he was seeing could potentially happen. So I'm like, I kind of trust in him a little bit. That's why I'm getting excited. But I do not deny his points, which were that the game is going to have some sort of loop that's gamey and annoying and bullshit, like the Destiny grind, except I like that, so it's not really talking to me, but still. And that's it. I probably missed one or two, so the big things to walk away from. I'm massively interested in Fortnite, although that's a game that's not even really there. It's just a thing I want to tell you guys because that's content that could be coming from me in the coming months. But games I'm excited for, State of Decay. I just didn't like the fact that they focused on the serious nature of the game. Assassin's Creed Origins, I was disappointed by the combat heavily. I hope it's more polished and it doesn't just do a weak Dark Souls version of the combat. Like, not the Dark Souls combat's weak, it's just like it looks like a shitty version of Dark Souls, strafing around a boss while he hits the ground with a fucking hammer, because that makes sense. Anyways, I was like, these are the dumbest people on the planet. If you were just wait and then hit me when I'm there instead of just smashing the ground 10 times, because why? Makes zero sense. Ori and the Blind Forest, I'm into. The last game that they showed that was stunning and beautiful and looks like Destiny meets Titanfall, except not really Titanfall. You get it. I'm into it. I'm hyped. I also think that I'm not sure if it can be that, but I hope it can. Also, they talked about the Scorpio, it being the next big thing, but for those guys who aren't aware, they kept saying console. I'm on PC. Yeah, my PC can do the things that it can. I should upgrade though, because it's getting a bit dated. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching as always. Oh wait, never mind. We're gonna be talking about Sony's next, and we're already at the 20-minute mark. Microsoft had a pretty big lineup of new games or recreated games. But anyways, I'm gonna cut right now to the PS4 conference chat, as well as I think we're gonna be talking about something else. Ubisoft, I think, is in the same day as Sony. Cool. This. And we're back to part 2. My voice is slightly weird. I don't know why, but we're gonna move past it. It's gonna go, hopefully. But now we are going to be talking about 4. I think I talked about Bethesda's and it being slightly underwhelming. But let me open the book of notes that I made when watching the live stream, because the video, I wanted to make this. Okay, moving on. So yesterday, or a couple minutes ago, we just covered Microsoft's press conference as well as Bethesda's. Today we had Ubisoft's and Sony's, and then tomorrow we have Nintendo, except I'm not going to make a video of Nintendo's press conference because I don't really care. Even if it's Smash Bros, that's awesome, but ultimately I don't really have anything to contribute besides sweet. That's awesome. Yeah. Anyways, let's talk about Ubisoft's conference. Now, let me just say, we're starting off with the number 1 thing I fell in love with, which of course is Far Cry. You guys know I love Far Cry to tears. I'm massively excited for the next game. It looks stunning. Honestly, it looks like it kind of beats AC to me at like this point. We're gonna talk about AC in a minute. Anyways, it looks amazing. First of all, it seems like we have a companion for the very first time in a Far Cry game. Not a mount. We also have a dog, but I'm talking about a companion. It seems like well, we're playing as a sheriff, so I'm imagining we have a deputy, and this deputy is going to be our like a random another source of getting into a base or taking out some person. She seems to be a sniper, but she probably can be other things. She's your supportive character on the side, which is awesome. I really hope she sticks around and fights with you. Like, I hope it's not just like, hey, this is the real quick thing, and then I'm gone. It's like, no, I really hope you're always by my side because you're my deputy. It makes sense. And yeah, then they also introduce the crazy cast of characters and the things that you can do. First of all, whatever they did to make that game look so stunning, I hope it keeps that. I hope it keeps the bloom. I don't know why. To me, games that like utilize bright bloom, I love to tears. I think it just makes it look insane. We also have a tiny dog who is able to, of course, do the things that you'd imagine. Like he's able to bring us weapons, which is amazing. He's able to take down some targets. And yeah, we just got our own personal dog, which would make sense if they use some, if not just a tiny aspect of the primal engine. Because that's what you kind of get when you play Far Cry games, is like their engine slowly starts to build from past assets and weird iterations of the game. But again, I'm really hoping that that dog has a skill tree, and it's not just like, hey, he's there. Also, I love the fact that he is what do you call it? He's like just a mixture of every type of dog breed. He's not like a purebred. He's like just a mix of everything, which is cool because, you know, he's maybe not the prettiest dog, but he's probably one of the best and the most memorable, which I like a lot. Kind of like efficiency over, ooh, pretty. It's like he's probably gonna get the job done, and I like that. Anyways, moving on. Not moving on. They didn't introduce like the stealth mechanics per se. We just seen some shit go boom, and I'm fine with that. I can't wait to see what happens. Like, other than that, I imagine we can stealth kill some people. I imagine there's a bunch of skill trees. Now, let's talk about the other thing that Ubisoft kind of presented, but not really. That's Assassin's Creed Origin is what it's called. Yeah. Not sure how I feel about it, honestly. I mentioned like a couple seconds ago, that I was not in love with the kind of combat mechanics. Also, in this one, they're really taking like the level into massive consideration. So like if an enemy is 2 levels above you, almost impossible. Like it seemed like that. Like an enemy was 5 levels above what you were in the demo that we've seen after Ubisoft. Anyways, the dude hit him in like the skull with an arrow and didn't do anything, which to me, it's like, yes, that means loot is kind of more valuable, but in the same sense, it just takes you out of the game. Like, the whole reason why assassins were deadly is because you could, like, again, drop assassinate someone, throw your blade in the neck, and guess what? Someone's gonna fall. This one, you hit a person in the head with like 7 arrows, and they keep going. It's like, what? That's really not what I think assassins are. Like, it's like, god damn, you're horrible. You must have the worst arrows on the planet, despite I see it went all the way through, and it just doesn't make sense. And I feel like it's gonna have this like weird momentum where it's trying to be an MMO but can't, and it might be weird. I'm still hopeful for the game. I still like all Assassin's Creed games. It's just this one was definitely not what I hoped it was. I hope they took that time with the year to really smooth out the parkour mechanics, which in the next AC game apparently you can basically climb anything, because there's like he shoves his finger in like a hole that's randomly on a rock and he gets himself there. It's kind of cool, kind of like Breath of the Wild, but still I'm like a bit iffy on it. The combat to me is like somewhat lost, because again, it just seems like it's an MMO where you're just hitting something thousands of times just to get it to fall, and that to me has always been the thing that Assassin's Creed does great, is it's like real human being fighting kind of situation. Yeah, you do crazy shit, but ultimately when you punch someone across the face or when you stab someone, you feel like, yeah, that person's gonna be almost dead. That makes sense. Whereas in this one, I feel like it's just gonna get to the point where it's like, poke, 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 great, you're not dead, quarter health, sweet, let's go back at it, poke, 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 and it's just that. It seems like it borrows a lot of stuff from Dark Souls, but ultimately, whatever. I'm hoping that we see more gameplay, we see it be more polished. I hope that, I don't know, I'm probably gonna play it, probably gonna I'm not sure I'm gonna enjoy it. Honestly, I just really don't like that they just scrapped the combat in this game in Assassin's Creed, because to me that wasn't the problem. And if anything, you could just make the kills more stylized, like in Assassin's Creed 2. You don't make enemies have 7 times the health and then have these really weird animations where it's essentially Dark Souls because you're holding a spear full length and treating it like it weighs nothing. It's like, well, that just doesn't. It's like weird, not founded in reality kind of stuff, which I don't know. If there's any place to do it, it's a place that has lacking of history, which is Egypt, because we have lacking information there because it's fucking so long ago. But anyways, moving on. Also, the Ubisoft, it came with like a weird thing this year. I feel like Ubisoft's conference, one, it didn't have Aisha Taylor, which I think she's just an awesome addition to that. She brings it to life. She gives you a breather in between, so it's not just game after game after game, which can be good, but also we're going to talk about that in Sony's case, and it's a bit weird. But anyways, I really missed her in the conference. I really like having her like break up everything, as well as just kind of be a gamer. That's what we're here for, is we're here to see what gamers want to see. So she kind of emulated that really well. I know some people weren't really a fan, but to me it was always a nice way to break up the momentum and kind of just progress, like a breathing period, so to speak. I thought it was really weird that they didn't show Assassin's Creed, and they showed like a quick trailer, and then at the end of everything they showed a really not padded trailer. Like it's the first time we're ever seeing the game, and it was just like not on rails. It was just completely free flowed and kind of was messy. I'm that kind of person that kind of wants something to be directed, and then after the fact show that you can like branch off and do this other weird stuff, but you still didn't lay down the foreground of what the game is, besides the fact that enemies take 10 times longer to kill now, and it's like an MMO, but yet we can't play with our friends. So it's like, I don't know. Anyways, all right, so we talked about AC, we talked about Far Cry. Those are the big ones for me. I know there's many other games we haven't talked about, by the way. These are just the ones I'm like, holy shit. Honestly, there was probably more there. I'm probably gonna kick myself that I didn't mention one of those, but we're gonna move on to PS4's press conference. Sony's press conference is what I should say. So Sony started coming out strong with nostalgia, and they released Monster Hunter, which I've never played, but I've heard countless times of people wanting that. Cool. It looks interesting. Kind of. It really made me sad because it made me think it was like maybe Sony took the remnants of Scalebound and made something with it that was honestly not what I'd want Scalebound to be, because it looked like it took itself pretty seriously. But still, it made me pretty sad that it wasn't Scalebound, it was something else. But hey, neat, I guess. I really hope Scalebound gets picked up at some point. Because it just seems like a waste. It seemed like even the stuff we seen at E3, that was awesome. God damn it. Anyways, moving on. And then the next like nostalgia hit that they did. Oh shit, I'm so sorry. Ubisoft, they released Beyond Good and Evil 2. That was an Ubisoft thing, and yeah, they released it, and people went ham for it. I've never played the first game, but apparently it's a prequel. And I'm not sure what they're doing when it comes to making it, because it seems like they're counting on their audience to either help test it or pay for it. I am not sure which one, but yeah, people were happy about it. People like really wanted that game, and all power to you. Amazing. I've never played the first one. If the second one's any good, or the prequel, if it's any good, then I'll give it a go. We haven't really seen any gameplay from it, so that's where I'm at. Anyways, like I said, Sony also came out with another nostalgia boner one, which is Shadow of the Colossus. I heard about this game since forever. It's up there for like one of the things that are people most wanted about their childhood back. And yeah, on like a Kingdom Hearts level kind of a deal. Like people really want this, and for what it's worth, it looks pretty cool. It looks like it is Shadow of the Colossus for what it's worth. Now, with that being said, I haven't played Shadow of the Colossus, but I've seen people play it and what it kind of looks like, and it looks polished. It looks good. Here's hoping it gets to you guys at a decent rate, because that's always what E3 is. It's like, when can I experience this? Oh shit, far away. Probably more than you care. Honestly, like, your caring will drop off before that, but who cares? I still miss Dead Island, dude. Dead Island 2 is a thing. Scalebound was a thing. Fucking damn it. Add to the remnants of cool games that could have been a thing. And then, of course, Sony's partnered with Call of Duty now, or Activision with Destiny and Call of Duty, so they released their next Call of Duty trailer thing. It looks scarily like they chose cinematic points that shadow Battlefield heavily. Like the bayonet charge was one of the things where I was like, oh, that's straight out of like, and give and take, it existed in the time span, so it makes sense that it's a thing. But it's also kind of like, maybe just pick another shot. Like there was a shot of you taking a digging shovel and like splitting someone in half, which you do not do in Battlefield. So like that makes sense. But like the bayonet charge, I think it made a lot of people go like, this is like Battlefield. I already played this. Like a year ago. I'm not gonna buy it again. But who knows? Maybe they're gonna do something crazy and different with it. I don't fucking know. I'm not a COD guy either. Call of Duty. So I'm kind of just gonna back up. And the last two we're gonna be talking about are the ones that are like, again, we missed a lot. Like there was some like Detroit was one that I'm not gonna play because I just don't want to have that emotional roller coaster, and also like the mental fuck that it's gonna present because, you know, robots and humans and we're both fucked and horrible and a bunch of positives and negatives. I don't want to deal with it. I'm just gonna say no. But the first one we're gonna talk about is God of War. This is one of the games that I'm the most excited for now because I've watched like Let's Plays of all the God of Wars, and I love them to tears, but I've never actually played them just because it's a hack and slash. It's not my type of game. But this God of War seems like it's my kind of hack and slash. It's very visceral. It's very like over the shoulder. It's not like overtly big, like almost like you're fighting a Goliath. It's kind of like, okay, well, how is this gonna happen? Okay, I somehow have the power to sever that much weight of stone. Like it just doesn't make sense. Also, my phone is being a bastard, but I had to wake up early today to watch the conference. Anyways, I can't wait to play it. It's gonna be one of those games I think I might cover on the channel. I'm not sure. Yeah. But then the other game that was also announced that looks unbelievably sick, but sadly we're not gonna get anytime soon, is Spider-Man. The new Spider-Man game actually looks pretty promising. But again, it said 2018, not like early 2018, like just 2018. I got something in my eye. Ow. So that is where I'm at. I'm kind of like, well, I hope it comes out then. And yeah, you can do like this crazy shit. It looks really visceral, which I like. Like even the QuickTime events look like a next step in QuickTime events. Like it looks really good. Now, we're gonna end it, but first of all, let me explain something to you guys. So in the last E3, there were so many people that were like, you know, Microsoft did a good, okay job, and I was like, really? Like PS4 was fantastic. It came out swinging, and of course, like, I find on YouTube there is a fair bit of bias, especially in the community that I take refuge, which is a lot of like the Achievement Hunter Rooster Teeth type community. Yeah, so I take refuge there, and when I mentioned it a bit ago, but when I watched that E3 from like when they covered it, they were just kind of like, it seemed like, again, very much fanboying when it come to Microsoft and Xbox, where they're like, hey, this is just boring. Let's see the stuff we want to see, like Fallout VR, all this crazy shit. Like they kept perpetuating that constantly. And it was just like, I'm sorry that you don't like Dishonored, but a lot of people do, and you're talking over it. Like, shut up and let people enjoy it. Was my perception of it. So to me, I was kind of like, again, last year it seemed like a lot of people who, in my like kind of community circle that I am in, were like, oh dude, PS4 was okay, but Microsoft, and again, a lot of it was fanboyism because everyone else around the planet was like, PS4 killed it last E3, and I had to agree. Again, I don't give a single shit about consoles. I play on PC and or PS4. I would prefer PC though. Anyways, moving on. But this E3, I would definitely have to say that who walks away with it is Microsoft. Microsoft did an amazing job about just cycling in these brand new games, game after game after game, and maybe it was just, it could definitely be this, that it was just like the first, we went from EA to actual like games that are not just sports and shit. So maybe it was that. Maybe it was just like that hot to cold mentality, that it truly felt like better. And maybe because we went from Microsoft to Ubisoft to Sony, it felt like a bit lackluster. But you want to look back on it, just their presentations, the way they was, again, it was just game after game after game. The way they, again, did like the thing that I enjoy, which is if you're going to showcase a game, polish it to make it so it's a good showcase. I'm not saying lie to your viewers. Like definitely have an on-stage like showcase and then a demo after it so you can see what it could be if it does fuck up, for sure. But on a stage, when you're trying to show someone like it's like when you write a resume, you try to sell yourself. But when you don't go up to your boss and like show him one of the worst aspects of you, like maybe you get hyper emotional or something. You wouldn't do that. It'd be nice to be like, hey guys, this game is in alpha, which is nice. Be like telling your boss, I sometimes get emotional. Be like giving him that insight. My point is that again, I think Microsoft game after game was just awesome. And again, like Sea of Thieves, it was brilliantly done, and it could be nothing like that. That's fine. Not really, it's a lie. But again, to me, I appreciate the padding. I appreciate the edit, so to speak. And Sony's, and same with Ubisoft. And I usually say Ubisoft is like the king of these. But again, that's because I really like Aisha Tyler and just the way she's able to be like, woohoo, as we're watching stuff. But yeah, to me, Ubisoft and Sony dropped the ball pretty heavily in this one. And that, again, last year I was like, oh, they did so great. But again, this year it just seemed like a lot of their stuff was, not that it didn't show some great stuff, it's just, to me, in comparison, not that great. Siri, I'm not talking to you, please. Jesus Christ, Siri. And oh, fucking shit, oh my god, that hurt so badly. But yeah, again, not to say that both sides didn't have cooler games, it's just, again, one side showcased it better than the other, I think. Yeah, I don't know, one seemed like it was a show, the other one seemed like it was just lazier than last year. I'm not sure if you guys don't agree, but that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. But again, I'm taking the other side of last year, which again, I do prefer PS4 because I play on it. I don't really go with Xbox, but still, even though I'm a PS4 player as well as a PC gamer, I'm not an Xbox player. I also can massively be like, hey, Microsoft, you killed it. Do this again next year, and I won't have an issue at all. Yeah, also seems like Sony was like, we're all about the games, and they showed games that also were not coming out this year. So it's like they keep showing us games that are never gonna come out. So it's kind of like, well, I don't know. Anyways, the last thing to talk about is the games. This is a really long video, but last thing to talk about is what I'm most looking forward to. Surprisingly enough, I randomly clicked on a video that was just on the sidebar of YouTube. And it said it was moderately new, so I was like, cool. And it was when I was going to sleep, just trying to get something to watch. And I clicked on it, and it was Fortnite. It was this game called Fortnite. And I started watching, and I was just like, huh, okay, the trailer looks cool, but ultimately, it's probably not going to mirror the gameplay. But then the next clip, because it was like an hour-long video, that's why I wanted to watch it, because it's long, so I could go to sleep in it while watching it. But I seen the gameplay, and I was like, holy shit. Where the fuck did this come from? It came out of left field to me, and it was a game that I immediately wanted to cover, and do videos of and showcase, because it's a weird mix of Sunset Overdrive, that type of art style, mixed in with a defense game. But also the one issue with the defense game that I've always seen is this awesome concept and this awesome, you're constantly fighting wave after wave after wave and putting up walls. Why can't you just make 4 walls and make a house? And you put all these assets into creation only to be a wall in front of the enemy, or another wall in front of the enemy, where it's you build all these assets, why can't you make a base with all those other things? And that's exactly what they did. You have your player home. It's basically like an MMO, like a giant open world. And yeah, I could talk about it for a long time, but it could be broken down into, it has Sunset Overdrive's look. It's like a tower defense game, but also you have your base where you can use and build this insane structure. There's 4 different classes. Pick from whatever class you want. So they have different buffs and attributes. The builder is great at building, the assassin is good at killing, etc. The ninja, not the assassin. But anyways, there's also a ton of gun customization where you can actually build these insane guns. Yeah, it's basically, it goes on and on and on. And it's a free-to-play game that's coming out late this year. But if you pre-order the game, you can become a founder. And I think it's probably gonna cost $20. But you can become a founder, and you can get it early, so you can help kind of iron out the kinks. And to me, that's awesome, because then I can start making content of that early, and I'm fine with not getting a game that's perfectly polished. I like evolving with it. I find that fun. Also, I think it's a good game to watch because it's fairly interesting, because it's oh shit, build this really quick, there's a bunch of shit ruining my gear. It's it'd be a fun game to commentate over and or showcase. It's called Fortnite. And that's it's only because I just found out about it. This game has been in development for a long ass time. I think the streams I was watching were a year ago. So I was where the fuck did this come from? Anyways, I'm into it. Next game that I'm the most excited for is Far Cry 5. The trailer of it just made it that much more visceral to me, and I just wanted to experience it that much more. Especially that we have a little dog, especially that we have, it seemed like cool guns, and all that other stuff is top notch. I'm amped. Also, the fact that we have a companion potentially is very interesting to me, and I hope that it's not just like a mission companion. It's like she's always there, she always can help you out and stuff like that. It'd be a cool thing to change the momentum of the game. Awesome. All right, so let's break it down to 3. So I have Fortnite, I have Far Cry 5, and then I have a game that we already talked about, and it's a game that is gonna break all our hearts, or we're still gonna try to love. It's called Anthem. It was the one I forgot the name of. It was the one I went on about how I watched a person react to it, and it was just fucking hilarious because he was just like, it's lying to us. Like, don't trust it. It's not gonna be this cool. Ah, shit. It's basically like Iron Man meets Destiny. That's, yeah. I'm hopeful, really hopeful. It sold me on the flying aspect of it. It looks awesome the way you can fly. I really want to be that lightning fly guy. It looks awesome. It looks like a glass cannon. I'm into it. Fucking what else is there? The world and like the jungle sold me. That game I think is way off though. Like way off. I don't think it's gonna come out anytime soon. And ultimately those are my 3 games that I'm like taking away from this E3 being like, I want super badly. Yes, God of War is up there. Same thing with State of Decay. State of Decay, I was only kind of like, again, they didn't really, we don't have any gameplay, and it seems like that development team, I feel like the development, this may be completely unfounded, but I feel like the development team for that game specifically tried to be something that it wasn't, like tried to be, basically it had iterations of it that never worked out, so they're like going back to what worked and stuff. Like again, I feel like with that kind of game, it could have potentially tried to be the Culling, where it's like, hey, survival throughout this, world, but more and more zombies keep spawning, and it's whoever survives the longest. It's like a little branch of the game, but ultimately I don't think it worked out because it seems like they've had a ton of time to work on this and a big team as well, but it's still not anywhere close to done. Like when you hear the developers talk about it, it's very much far away, which to me is like, what were you guys doing in that time period? Did you just have to scrap a bunch of stuff? Because like honestly, I feel like a lot of people would have been happy and pretty satisfied with just like State of Decay 2 with like multiplayer, and just new houses to upgrade, and maybe some new guns, and just respawning lootable areas. Maybe that's a bit, maybe that's impossible and a lot. Also, they showed it's the other zombie game, voice in my head.
That day is gone.
Thank you, baby Jesus. Yeah, they showed that game, and it was pretty cool. It seems like I don't know what it is. I'm not sure if it's an open world game. I'm not sure when we're getting it. I'm not sure. Like that to me is where a walkthrough demo can become weird. You know what I mean? Like that's the game where I want to see what it's like when it's not perfectly executed, because it seems like it could be a mess otherwise. That's one game where I would have preferred like a demo separate from the on-stage perfectly executed already played demo. Anyways, guys, what are your favorite games from E3? We're not talking about Nintendo because surprisingly enough, I'm not like the biggest, it's not that I'm not a fan, it's just that I never really care. It's like they're just not the games I pay attention to. Not that they're not awesome in their own right, I just don't pay attention to those. But tell me what games you guys are the most excited for. Again, I missed some things that they talked about, like Destiny and some of those things. But anyways, guys, regardless, thank you guys so much for watching as always. Tell me about your E3. Tell me who won and who lost. Was Ubisoft's the best this year? Because I felt like it was lacking. Was Sony's amazing? I don't know what I'm talking about because they just tugged on your nostalgia boner too much. That was really vivid, and I should have used better words to describe that. Sorry. Yeah. Who won? Because to me it was honestly and kind of reluctantly Microsoft. Yeah, I just really enjoyed the press conference. The bit where it was talking about driving, I couldn't care less, but right after that, it just started going up and up and up, and I just really enjoyed it. But ultimately, again, what was your guys' favorite part of E3? What's your most anticipated game? Let me know. I want to hear about it. I love this time of year. Like I said in the beginning, it's like Christmas for me. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching as always. Subscribe button above me, 2 videos to my right. Tell me what you guys think, and bye, guys.